Yes, teacher.
Okay, guys. So today we'll practice task number 2 of the speaking section, which is what we've been doing, what we did yesterday. So remember, this is the template, okay? I wanted to show it to you first so that you can take a screenshot of it if you need to or if you don't have it yet, because we will be using it in today's practice session. You guys have to use this template when answering the question, okay? At least for today's class. Please make sure that you have it, that you save it before we start practicing. Is it okay? Does everyone have it?
Yes.
So today then we'll practice. I was telling you yesterday that there are some variants, right, for this question, because so far we've been working with practices where it was always like an announcement made by the university and the student was against. So we're gonna try to do different types of questions. You see that like no matter what type you have, you can always use them. Okay, so let's start by looking at this question. Remember that you have how many seconds to read the text? You have 45 seconds to read the text. So you guys will have 45 seconds starting now. Please read the text.
Did you see that article?
Yeah, and it sounds like a great idea. It's really good for the students in that program.
Don't they cook in class anyway?
Well, yeah, they do. But my cousin was in the program a few years ago, and she said that it's very different to cook for a lot of people in that kind of atmosphere than to cook for classmates.
Why is that?
Well, in class, you can take your time, but cooking for more people, there's more pressure. I mean, you're in a rush, people are waiting, and it might be easy to make a mistake with all that stress.
Then they'll think you're a bad chef, right?
Absolutely.
So, okay, it's good practice. But what about the extra cost?
Well, look at it this way. You've eaten at some of the fancier restaurants in town, right?
Yeah, there are some great places to eat around here.
Well, these students, they'll be making fantastic meals, and it's going to be cheaper than going out to one of those restaurants.
Much cheaper, actually.
So, it'll be worth it. The meals will be as good as the ones in those expensive restaurants.
The man expresses his opinion about the university's plan.
Okay, sorry. The question says, the man expresses his opinion about the university's plan. State his opinion and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion. Okay? You will now have 30 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay. So who wants to go first? Everyone's gonna do it. Who wants to be the first? Great, so please, you may start now.
Okay, the boy totally agree with making a dining club on the last week of each semester. He says, first of all, he says that these students will get more practice and experience because they will work on pressure, they will cook on pressure, talking about that they will cook for more people and that. Furthermore, he says that about talking about costs, these kind of meals will be cheaper comparing about other restaurants. So in conclusion, we can say that the boy is totally agree with making this dining club. It will help a lot for all students that pri- will participate on that.
Okay. So great, Sebas, thank you. Good response. You got the 2 points. The one that was about so they getting more experience, the students getting more experience and working under pressure, and also the one about the costs of the meal, right? Even though this will be more expensive, it is cheaper comparing it to the price that students pay for meals outside of the university, right? For fancy meals. So great. Some comments. The first one referring to grammar in your introduction, careful. Try to say the student instead of the boy. And remember that when you use the verb agree, you don't have to use the verb to be, right? So you could say the student totally agrees with the university's plan, right? Of having culinary arts students cook for the dining services. So careful with the structure, right, of the verb agree. You don't need the verb to be for that. And second thing, both reasons were great, and honestly, you speak fairly fast. I'm not saying that it's too fast. I think it's a good speed to keep. I wouldn't ask you slow it down or anything, but you do have some extra time, right? In this case, you had 20 extra seconds after finishing everything that you needed to say. And during those 20 seconds, what you did was you said, so in conclusion, you gave a conclusion and you said, we can say that the student feels this way, and you said that it will benefit students, correct? But in the integrated questions of the TOEFL test, you're not allowed to give your own opinion. So try not to use the first person. So don't mention the pronouns we or I, and don't talk about this like these were your ideas, right? You can never give your opinions here. You're only supposed to act like a reporter that's summarizing everything that was said by the student. So maybe take more time explaining the reasons, maybe make longer pauses, I don't know, but try not to give your own opinion at the end. Okay, so
Okay, teacher.
any questions? Is everything clear? Okay, guys. So in that case, we've seen one where the student is in favor of the plan, right? Let's see another one. This is the next one we'll do. It will be the same. You still have 45 seconds to read the text.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
I totally disagree with Tim's proposal.
Why?
Well, look, Tim's my friend, but he's not your typical student. He stays up late partying every night, weeknights too.
If he parties every night, no wonder he can't pay attention.
Yes, and most students aren't like that. They come to class prepared and rested, and they can concentrate.
So you're saying the problem is really Tim?
Yes, he was in one of my classes last year, and whenever I looked at him, he was actually sleeping.
I guess if he's sleeping, he can't really know what's happening, what other people in class are doing.
Right. And you want to know what does happen in that last hour of seminar? In a lot of seminars that I've been in, that's when things get interesting.
Really?
Yes, that's usually when students get really involved in the discussion and start exchanging important ideas. And if the history department actually did what Tim suggests, well, if they did that, what would happen is you'd lose what might be the most worthwhile part of a seminar.
Okay. Now the woman expresses her opinion about the proposal that her friend Tim made in his letter to the newspaper. State her opinion about his proposal and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. Okay? Now you will have 30 seconds to prepare your responses. Guys, so who else wants to go? Maybe Victor?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
The student is in the conversation is against the idea of history seminar should be shortened. First of all, he explains that the students can't concentrate during the seminars since they are sleeping in the last hour of the seminar, and most of the time is after a party. I don't get the idea. In addition, she believes that the students should involve in the seminar for students don't pay really attention to the seminars, but with the involve or do some activities during that, he can be very concentrated and participate more.
Okay. So I didn't get it too much. You said that the student is against the idea of shortening the seminar, but I think you talked about the student in the reading, right? Not the student in the conversation. Because you said that the student in the conversation says that students can concentrate during the last hour of the seminar, but that was the idea from the reading, right? In the reading, they
Yeah.
say that students cannot concentrate.
Yeah, I confused that part. Sports the idea.
Okay. No. She's against the idea. So she's opposing everything that this is something that Tim wrote, right? It's the friend of the student that was speaking in the conversation. And she, the female, says that it is not true that students cannot concentrate, but it is only Tim, the one that cannot concentrate, right? So Tim is the one that parties every night. So when he goes to class, he cannot pay attention. So this isn't really a problem for everyone, but only for Tim. But other students can concentrate just fine. So there's no need of shortening the seminar. Right? That was the first reason. And the second was that, well, according to Tim, according to the student who wrote the letter, he says that the third hour is a waste of time, right? But the woman, the student in the conversation, says that it isn't a waste of time, that it's actually the most important part of the seminar. It's when things get interesting, when they start debating and discussing, and that's when things actually get important in the seminar. So they have opposing views. Okay.
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 Yeah,
So
what's confusing?
yeah, it was a little bit confusing maybe because in this case it was the structure is different, right? It isn't the university speaking anymore, but we have a proposal from a student, right? It's necessary that we understand how this works. So imagine that you're at this university. So somebody from the university, your friend, makes a proposal and he writes a letter and posts it in the newspaper. That's what you have here. This is the letter written by Tim, who's a student in the university. And then you heard his friends, especially this woman here, I don't know her name, but she is commenting about the letter that her friend wrote, right? And she's against this idea. And she gives two reasons. So you have to talk more about the student in the conversation. You cannot talk too much about the student in the letter, right? So in that case, you could just say the student in the conversation doesn't support the proposal made by her friend in the letter, right? Or you just use the template, sorry. You say, student in the conversation is against the idea of shortening the seminar, the history seminars. First of all, she explains that, and then you explain, right? So is this okay? Is this clear? Do you guys get the idea of how this works? It's the same. You just have to forget that it's a student that's writing the letter. Does it make sense? Yeah. Everyone, everything clear? Okay, we'll do another one that's similar then. Okay, for example, this one here is a proposal too. How do you know it's a proposal? Take a look at this. Where is it? Okay. I would like to propose that I make this proposal for two reasons. I myself have taken the 3-hour seminar. So you know that it's a proposal because in the letter you can see a lot of the time the word or the pronoun I, right? This is a proposal. I think that this should be short, basically. But when it's the university that's announcing something, you don't see the pronoun I, right? It's like university administrators have announced that this will be eliminated. Different. Take a look at this one here that says, I think the lobby at the entrance. So this is a proposal as well. Remember, you will have 45 seconds to read the text. So you may begin reading.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
Mary, you're an art student. What do you think of this letter?
I don't like the idea.
Why not?
Well, first of all, his first point about a lot of people passing through the student center, that's true, but it's always really crowded with people coming and going. It's not good for showing artwork. Imagine you're standing there, trying to look at a painting. There's going to be like a million people walking through. People walking in front of you, blocking your view, distracting you.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
You won't be able to appreciate the artwork or get a good look at anything with so much going on, with so many people moving around.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Plus, he's wrong about the windows.
But isn't it true that it's good for art to have lots of light?
In a sense, yeah. But that kind of light, all that natural light from windows, that's actually not good. Because if it's really sunny out, it'll be way too bright. If it's cloudy, it'll be way too dark.
Oh.
What you want is controlled light, consistent light, the kind you get from electric light bulbs. Think about in an art museum. In an art museum, you've got electric lighting, and the light is always carefully controlled, always at the same level.
Okay, now the question says, briefly summarize the proposal in the student's letter, then state the opinion of the student in the conversation about the proposal, and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. So now you will have 30 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, so maybe Manuel?
Well, here we go.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the student in this conversation is against the idea of the art in the lobby, and in the entrance. First of all, she explained that this is a bad idea because annoying people is walking and blocking the paints. And in addition, she believed that it's no good for the from the windows because the natural light is uncontrollable because when it's sunny it's so light and when it's closed it's so dark, like not like in a museum that is here is with a perfect control. Sorry.
Okay, why are you sorry?
And I think I made a mess with the verbs.
The verbs?
Yes, with the tense.
Okay. Maybe there were like a few errors with the tenses. Only one, to be honest. Because like in the first reason, right? You were using simple present when you needed to use future, right? So students will be blocking the view instead of students.
Okay.
But it was just that error, I think. Then it was good. It wasn't bad. You're being too harsh on yourself. But what can I say? So maybe also the reporting verbs, they have to be in the simple present instead of in the simple past.
Okay.
But it wasn't bad. Honestly, you got a lot of ideas, you explained them well. The only thing, try to manage your time a little bit better, right? Go faster in your introduction. You shouldn't be spending more than 10 seconds there. You have more time to explain. Okay, Manuel?
Okay.
Okay, guys, any questions so far? Nope. Right? Then again, in this case, it was a letter, a proposal from another student in the university, and you have to talk about the other student in the conversation. Now let's see, let's take a look at another one. All right, here. So it'll be the same. You will have 45 seconds, sorry, to read the text.
Now listen to two students discussing the article.
So what do you think of the university's new plan?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work.
No?
I mean, I can't imagine top students being too thrilled about some of the conditions on this campus.
What do you mean?
Like the science laboratories having such old, outdated equipment, and the library needing more books, and the student center being so small. I think that the $2 million could be spent in better places if the university is really serious about achieving its goal.
Okay, but what about the other reason for building the stadium? I mean, right now we have so little contact with the town.
Yeah, but this won't help relations. Look, people from town hardly ever come to games because our teams always lose, and they're not suddenly going to improve overnight. Besides, adding seats won't make a difference. I mean, if people from town didn't come before, they won't come now just because the place is bigger.
The woman expresses her opinion about the university's plan, state her opinion, and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. You will now have 30 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, so maybe Walter?
Okay, teacher, I just listened to the first opinion about the second thing
Okay,
that
no
she says.
problem. If you only have one of the two, then you gotta explain it more, right? Try to hide it. Maybe you can mention that there's another reason without actually mentioning the second reason.
Okay, it's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, the student in conversation is against of the idea of make a new stadium or in the university. First of all, she explains that it's a waste of money. They can spend that money to another things like buy books for the to buy books or another thing that it's more necessary than only new stadium. In addition of that, she believes that I couldn't listen to the second part because my internet gets low. Sorry.
Okay, no problem, Walter. But remember what we said before you started, right? You don't have the second the second reason. That's fine. Let's say that that happens in your test. You have to improvise, right? So if you don't have the second reason, don't say anything about it. Don't start with the transitions, right? Or you could maybe just say, in addition, she also explains that there's another reason why they shouldn't be building this new state, right? And then just leave it there. So, but say something, okay?
Okay. It's okay.
So well done. I don't have any comments. Carefully your introduction with the ing, the gerund. So the student in the conversation is against the idea of making, right, or building a new state.
Okay.
With ing. Okay, nice. So let's do another one. Something different. This, okay, this is a little bit different. So it will be the same. Do you guys have any questions so far? Everything clear? Everything okay? Guys, then
I
let's
have a question. Sorry. When we present in the exam, we will have the text in the same in the page and or how?
question. So I actually have a video. but it will be basically first you get the text. Well, first you get the instructions, right? Then you get the text. It's there for 45 seconds. The 45 seconds are over and the text disappears and your screen changes to a picture containing two students. So while at the time that you're listening to the conversation, you can only see a picture of two students there. And then you get the question. You cannot read the text while you're preparing or anything. And finally, you have the time to speak, right? So when you're speaking, the only things that you can see on your screen is the question and the time. And that's right. So, but let me show you. I have a video.
Number 2. In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. The university is making a change in the courses it will offer. Read the article from the university newspaper about the change. You will have 45 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now.
Right, so as you can see, first you get the instructions, you get the text and the timer there counting down the 45 seconds. And once they're over, like this.
Now listen to two students discussing the article.
So then you have the narrator, so as he's saying, listen to these two students, and you have the picture of the two students there. So the time that you're listening, you can only see the picture, and once the conversation's over, you will get this.
The woman expresses her opinion of the university's plan. State her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Right? So that's how it's gonna be. Is it okay? Do you guys have any questions about the format?
It's clear. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, guys, good. So let's do this one here that I was telling you is a bit different. So remember you have 45 seconds to read the text.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
Did you read that letter in the paper?
Sure. And though she's right about the problems, I don't think what she proposes will do much good.
Really?
Yeah. Take her first suggestion. I mean, have you seen the health center?
Of course. Why?
Well, it's tiny, right? The center suffers from lack of space, so unless they build more treatment rooms or offices or something.
Oh, I see.
And also, her second suggestion?
Seems like that'll help things out.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, think about it. A lot of students aren't even here on the weekends.
That's true.
They leave town and get away. There's not a lot of people here.
Yeah, like me. I go home probably at least twice a month.
Right. And a lot of us leave campus for the weekend even more often than that. So there's just not a lot of demand for treatment then. See what I mean?
Now the question says, the man expresses his opinion about the student's suggestions that are made in the letter. State the man's opinion and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion. So the student's suggestions, right? You have two suggestions. You will now have 30 seconds to prepare your response. Guys, so let's see. Narciso, do you want to try?
Oh, sorry, teacher. I can't hear good the audio.
Okay, you couldn't hear the audio well. Okay, so is there anyone who wants to try this task?
Maybe if we can listen again,
Okay,
please,
okay,
teacher.
of course. Yes.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
Did you read that letter in the paper?
Sure. And though she's right about the problems, I don't think what she proposes will do much good.
Really?
Yeah. Take her first suggestion. I mean, have you seen the health center?
Of course. Why?
Well, it's tiny, right? The center suffers from lack of space, so unless they build more treatment rooms or offices or something.
Oh, I see.
And also, her second suggestion?
Seems like that'll help things out.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, think about it. A lot of students aren't even here on the weekends.
That's true.
They leave town and get away. There's not a lot of people here.
Yeah, like me. I go home probably at least twice a month.
Right. And a lot of us leave campus for the weekend even more often than that. So there's just not a lot of demand for treatment then. See what I mean?
Okay. So you guys will have 30 more seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, question is the same. Yes. So who wants to go now, Narciso?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, great. So please begin speaking now.
Okay. And he said that he's not agree with the text because she think the space is enough big, and also he said that in the weekends the students um, go to the town and and not is so necessary that the hospital or the health center is not necessary that the health center is open on the weekend.
Okay, Narciso. So I can see that you're really good in terms of listening comprehension because you got both ideas, right? So the first one, there's not a lot of demand during weekends because most students go outside the university. They go to visit their families or they go home. And you're the second reason too, right? That opening on weekends isn't a, or that, well, the first one was that hiring more doctors is not a good idea, right? Because the health center is not big enough to have a lot of doctors. But maybe I would say that you're struggling a little bit with the grammar part, Narciso. You have to review some grammar points. So try to practice sentence structure first thing. Remember that in English, every sentence and every clause always contains first the subject, then the verb, and then a complement, right? For example, it is not necessary instead of not is necessary. And you're translating directly from Spanish, and that can hurt your score, right, in terms of grammar. So make sure that you review the grammar part. You need to. And also try to use a template because you're not using the template, right? You're starting directly. He says that, but use a template, right? First, tell me a little bit about the proposal. So you could say the student in the conversation is against the suggestions made by the student in the letter, right? First of all, he believes that. So you're missing those transitions and so forth, and that's because you're not using the template. So those will be my two tips. Review grammar and use the template. Okay, Narciso?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Sure. Any questions? So in this
Nope.
case, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's different because you don't have a change in two reasons anymore, right? You have a problem and two solutions, but you can approach it in the same way. You could say the student in the conversation is against the suggestions made in the letter in order to improve the health services in the university, right? So I am mentioning the problem in the introduction. And then I'll mention the two reasons that the student gives and how they are related to the two suggestions made in the letter. So I will say, first of all, he states that hiring more doctors, so I am connecting it to what the student suggested, isn't a good suggestion since there's, I don't know, the health center isn't big enough to have more, I don't know, doctor's offices or to have more, doesn't have the capacity for more doctors, right? And then I'll do the same for the second one. I will say, in addition, he believes that opening on weekends wouldn't solve the problem because or since there's not a lot of demand during weekends, given that most students leave campus for the weekend, they go visit their families or they go home, which means that it wouldn't make sense to open on weekends, right? There are not students going there. So the structure is the same. I'm not changing anything. I'm still keeping everything that I mentioned before. The only thing is you have to see that there's a difference, right? And understand the context. This is a problem with two solutions or two suggestions, and the student opposes each suggestion made here. So is that okay? Do you guys have any questions about this one we did? Okay, guys. So let's do another one. Let's do one more. We'll be doing this one here. Okay? Remember that you have 45 seconds to read the announcement. You'll be the last one we do it.
Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
Did you read about the new plan?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea.
Really? Why?
Well, I just don't think the newspaper gives the most up-to-date information about activities.
Well, the paper comes out weekly. What's the problem?
The fact that it comes out just once a week is the problem. I read the paper every Monday, but then I forget that they're having a concert or showing a film or whatever, like on Thursday or Friday. And this'll always give me a reminder on the day of the event.
Yeah, that way you wouldn't forget.
And, like, if something gets canceled at the last minute, well, that way you'd know, and you wouldn't waste time showing up and no one's there.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That would be really helpful. But do you think students are actually going to read the email?
Are you kidding? Everyone checks their email at least once a day. And if maybe they also include the cafeteria menu for the day in the email, well, then people are definitely going to read it.
You're so right. I can't wait until they start.
Okay, guys. Another question says, the woman expresses her opinion about the university's plan. Briefly summarize the plan, then state her opinion about it and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. You will now have 30 seconds to prepare your response. Okay, guys. So, who wants to go? Who wants to be the last
Me, teacher.
one? Okay, Victor, great. Please start now.
The student in a conversation supports the idea of send a daily email with campus activities. First of all, she explains that it's a daily reminder of activities of the university. Since the newspaper that used now, it's just reading once in a week, and majority of students forget that. Also, reminds you if an activity cancelled at last minute so you don't waste time. In addition, she believes that all the student checks email daily, also twice a day. For all the students at university are communicate and know how to use internet and email, so the majority will be reading the email and know about all the activities and reminding daily.
Okay, great, Victor. Thank you. That was perfect. So now you got both reasons correctly. I love the way that you explain them, the way you manage your time too. It was 25, 25 exactly for each reason. Grammar was good. The connections were drawn, although usually when the student is in favor of the change, the reasons are the same, right? The student just explains them a little bit more. So you did that, you summarized it well too. I don't have any comments. Careful in the beginning in your intro, right? Supports the idea of getting a daily mail. Only that grammar. But it was a great response, Victor. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, guys. So this is task number 2. What do you think? Do you guys have any questions? Is everything clear? Because tomorrow we'll start a new task, right? So if you have questions about this one, it's the time for you to ask. No questions then? You guys sure?
I have one question, but it's not about the task, teacher.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
I'm trying to use the 15 minutes call, but I need to unactivate an account. I mean, I register today, but the page said me that it's just for subscribers. So I need to wait 25 hours or something like that.
Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that you have to wait for 24 hours, but I'm not totally sure. But ask the coordinator, please, the one that sends the reminders of like booking the sessions. She will probably answer very quickly and she'll guide you through the process because I'm not totally aware on how that works. But if you register today, I think tomorrow morning you should be able to start booking your session. Because I think she has to do something. I don't know if she has to like give you the permit. I don't know. But please text her. Do you have her number? I think she's the admin of the group.
Yes, I have.
Okay. She is the one that's in charge of administering and managing that part.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question?
No.
Okay, guys. Then please today we have to fill 2 surveys and I'm sending you the first. Don't go yet if you're done with this. I'll send the other one as soon as everyone's finished so that you can fill out the other side. One. Okay, guys, thank you. Now I'm sending the other one too. And that'll be it for today's class. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll continue with the speaking section. Speaking section, sorry, we'll be working on task number 3 of the speaking this time. So thank you so much, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Goodbye, teacher.
Thank you.